All right, let's talk about something that pretty much anyone in a service role feels at some point: burnout. But what if that feeling of being completely wiped out isn't the whole story? We're going to dig into the huge, and I mean huge, difference between needing some rest and actually starting to withdraw.
Does this feel familiar? You're pouring yourself out week in and week out, and then you just hit a wall. It happens to the best of us for sure, but we really need to get what's going on underneath the surface. And yeah, these are the classic signs, right? You just feel emotionally spent, your body is tired, and spiritually, you're just dry. And that little thought starts to whisper, man, I just want to step down for a bit. Or maybe, I wish I could just walk in, sit down, and have nobody need anything from me. These feelings are so real, and they're totally valid. But, and this is the big turning point we have to face, sometimes that feeling of being tired is just a convenient mask. It can be covering up some deeper stuff we don't really want to deal with. Things like a hidden offense, a quiet disappointment, or maybe even losing that fire, that conviction that got us started in the first place. Okay, so let's get into it. To really figure this out, we've got to understand the scriptural balance between what is healthy, God-given rest and what's actually an unhealthy withdrawal. They can look almost identical from the outside, but where they come from, totally different worlds. So first, let's get one thing straight. Rest is not unspiritual. It's not a sign that you're weak. I mean, Jesus himself looked at his disciples who were just running ragged, and he was the one who said, hey, let's get away and rest. He commanded it. So that desire for rest, it's a legitimate God-given need. But then on the flip side, the Bible is also packed with verses calling us to be steadfast, to be faithful, to be immovable, right? We're called to be people you can count on, who are always giving our all to the work. So you've got these two truths kind of pulling at each other, the need for rest and the call to be faithful. And that brings us right to the heart of it. The real question isn't, hey, am I allowed to take a break? The answer to that is, of course you are. The much deeper, more revealing question you have to ask yourself is, why? What's the motive behind my desire to stop? That's where you're going to find the truth. Look at the difference here. It's so clear when you see it side by side. A heart that needs healthy rest, it's looking for renewal. It wants to come back stronger. But a heart that's withdrawing, it's just looking for an escape. See, healthy rest comes from a heart that still loves the church, even when it's tired. Withdrawal happens when that love is starting to go cold. And this last one is huge. Rest is done out in the open with accountability. Withdrawal, that's when you just kind of disappear. You go silent.
So how in the world do you figure out what's going on in your own heart? How do you expose your real motive? Well, let's try looking at this through what we'll call the loyalty lens. It's basically a few really honest questions we need to ask ourselves.
All right, first question, and you got to be brutally honest here. Are you just physically worn out, or are you actually offended by something or someone? Is saying I'm tired just the polite way to say I'm hurt, and you're using it to pull away without having to have a tough conversation? Okay, let's do a quick gut check. When you imagine taking that break, what feeling bubbles up? Is it a feeling of joy, like, I can't wait to get refreshed and come back? Or is it a bitter feeling, kind of cynical, like, good, I am so done with all this? Your immediate emotional reaction tells you a lot. And this one cuts right to the chase. It's the most direct question there is. Deep down, do you still love your pastor? Do you still love your church? Or is it possible that tiredness has become the excuse you're using to make a move that your heart already made a long time ago? And if you're still not quite sure, here are some major red flags. You start avoiding your leaders. You find yourself daydreaming all the time about just being somewhere else. And this one's tough, but if you feel a secret little bit of satisfaction imagining your department struggling after you leave, that's not a need for rest. That's a huge warning sign that you're in withdrawal. So, what now? What do you do with all this? The good news is, whether you just need a real break or you've uncovered something deeper, there's a way forward. Let's look at how you can handle this whole situation with integrity and actually get to a place of renewal. It's really a simple 4-step process. First, you have to take it to God. Seriously, ask Him to show you what's really going on. Step 2, you have to talk to your leader. Don't be the person who just ghosts everyone. Communicate. Third, if you are going to take a break, define it. Give it a start date and an end date. And fourth, take a hard look at the stories you're telling yourself. Are they actually true, or are they being colored by your hurt?
At the end of the day, getting through this in a healthy way is all about your inner posture. It really comes down to the mindset you choose to have as you move forward. Let's look at 3 really powerful mindsets to adopt.
First, you have to really let this sink in. God is not mad at you for being tired. He is for your rest. What he's against is when we use a good thing, like rest, to hide a destructive thing, like an offense or a disloyal heart. This next one is a decision. It's a commitment you make to yourself and to God. You just decide, you know what? I'm going to do this the right way. I'm going to choose honest, accountable rest, and I'm going to reject that temptation to just fade away silently.
And finally, this is the goal. This is the vision that pulls you through the whole process. The point of taking a break isn't to get more distance. The point is to heal, to get refreshed, so you can come back and re-engage with even more health, more passion, and more life than you had before.
So that's what it all boils down to. That feeling of burnout, it's really an invitation to look under the hood and see what's really going on. And it forces you to make a choice. So the question I want to leave you with is this. Which path are you going to choose? The hard but healing path of honest rest, or the easy, silent path of withdrawal? The choice is yours.